So today is Tuesday, March 21st, 2023. It's day 21. We're counting down until March 29th, Wednesday, March 29th, which is when Stronghold Digital Mining will have, they'll release, right, their Q4 2022 results as well as full year 2022 results, and we will, get a little bit of context and color about what's going on right now as we are practically at the end of a Q1 2023. So energy markets have remained fairly subdued. I mean, at one point today, I saw grid prices around $14 a megawatt hour. They're hovering around $20 or so a megawatt hour not that long ago. Bitcoin priced in dollars per megawatt hour, man, up above $90, which is like phenomenal. So, we've talked a lot about this mathematical question, which is, hey, do you sort of continue producing electricity at your power plants, right? Both Scrubgrass and Panther Creek. And, we're projecting, right, or the company's guiding towards net cost of power of between $45 and $50 a megawatt hour beginning now in Q1 2023. So the fundamental question is, hey, if we're making electricity for, say, $50 a megawatt hour, yeah, there's a phenomenal spread there between 50 and, say, like 90, okay? But from a mathematical standpoint, would it make sense to drop the power plant's output as low as possible without shutting it off completely and instead just import electricity, right, buy the electricity from the PJM grid at prices, say, hovering around 20 some odd dollars, 25, maybe even $30 a megawatt hour, and utilize that electricity to mine Bitcoin, right? Because you're at least mathematically, it would seem, right, you're obtaining a bigger spread. Now, the one risk factor potentially is that if grid prices were to spike up, you don't really have any control over that. Now, you could presumably detect, hey, wait a minute, grid prices have shot up. Let's cut off power to the data center. Don't want to necessarily be losing money, especially if power prices, rise above Bitcoin priced in dollars per megawatt hour. So I can see an argument, a compelling argument for why there might be more control by simply saying, hey, we know what our net cost of power is, both at Scrubgrass and Panther Creek. You know what? We're going to just create electricity ourselves. We know what our net cost of power is. It's predictable. It's reliable. We'll use that to mine Bitcoin, okay? And only if there's an issue with the power plants, hey, then, okay, if, grid prices are reasonable enough, then great, we'll go ahead and pull, power from the grid. To continue, mining Bitcoin in that sort of situation where the plants maybe can't operate. I don't know. And this is why I think it could be so useful to get a little bit of context and color as to this issue. Because, needless to say, right, you can make more money by importing power from the grid, $14, $15, $20 a megawatt hour, right? You presumably also incur less wear and tear on the power plants themselves, because you're presumably running them at a lower BTU threshold, or sort of like a low power mode, so to speak. So again, presumably that's less wear and tear, therefore less maintenance expenses down the road. Again, these are I have a fairly decent handle on what's going on, but I'm not in the control room, right? I'm not physically there, sort of like, getting direct, specific, accurate, 100%, information as to what's going on. So that's why I do think it could be useful to have, more of a bit of context and color as to what's going on, because, hey, look, at the end of the day, I get it. All we want is for the company to make money, right? We want Stronghold Digital Mining to be super successful, to make a bunch of money, and and that's all that matters, right? And for the stock price to reflect all the money that we're making. But I know that there's certainly a number of us, right, who also have that intellectual curiosity as to how we're making the money, right? How, exactly what do the operations look like, and what's the interplay between grid prices, our own net cost of power, Bitcoin priced in dollars per megawatt hour, and how we determine how to operate these plants. I mean, I am very intellectually curious about that. And I agree that's probably, technical questions like that are best reserved for a, technology day or an engineering day, if one were to ever be held, right, by Stronghold Digital Mining. But I do think it's germane within the context of an investor presentation to at least maybe highlight, hey, this is how we're toggling the switches on our energy arbitrage machine, which can, make money a bunch of different ways. Hey, let's highlight some of the ways in which we can do that. And I do think that this fundamental question of when do we pull energy from the grid versus when do we just create it ourselves and use it to mine Bitcoin, that's a really great question, I think, to explore. Apologies if there's ambient noise from a nearby roadway. I should have shut my window. I neglected to do so. So to the extent you're hearing that, my apologies. In any event, today's day 21, tomorrow's day 22. I can't end this, though, without acknowledging the very positive upward price momentum in our stock. So I don't want to jinx anything, so I'm not going to really, dwell on our stock price too much in today's episode, so to speak. But I'm very encouraged by the fact that Bitcoin continues to do well. It's at last check, it was over 28,000, so we're holding steady. Our stock price continues to march forward, and so the real short-term or medium-term goal here is, hey, we got to get to $1 a share. We got to try to maintain our stock price at $1 a share or more, or at least have a bid price of at least $1 a share for, I believe it's 10 days. And in so doing, we will avoid having to make some very kind of tricky decisions about reverse stock splits and, remaining listed on NASDAQ. I do think it would probably be ideal if we can just kind of get up above $1 naturally and stay above $1 naturally. But obviously all of the relevant frameworks have been put into place so that if we do need to do a reverse stock split, we can do so. So it would seem highly unlikely that we're going to be leaving NASDAQ anytime soon. It's just a matter now of how's this going to happen? Reverse stock split, or we're just naturally going to get up above $1 a share? I think we're going to naturally get above $1 a share. The momentum is pointing in that direction, but I don't want to jinx anything. And, again, it's a very volatile stock. So, okay, day 21, tomorrow's day 22. I'll see you then.